Dzień dobry, nazywam się Joanna Zbroniec. Cieszę się, że mogę wziąć udział w konferencji.
Hello, my name is Joanna Zbroniec. I'm glad that today I can meet with you during our conference.
Będę korzystać ze wsparcia lektor, żebyście mnie mogli zrozumieć.
Today I also will use the support of my English lecturer so you can understand me. Spread your wings thanks to the chess therapy, the bridge between therapist and a child. I have a master's degree in psychology and I'm also a chess trainer. As a child, I used to play chess at a club. For 9 years now, I have tried to use the potential of chess play to support the development of children and teenagers. Today, I would like to explain and share with you my knowledge, my work, and my methods in the chess therapy. It is understood widely playing chess teaches us determination and persistence, demonstrating that systematic work benefits. Playing chess can be a great fun for millions of people around the world, but it is proven this type of activity stimulates brain development. For me, chess is primarily a bridge leading me into the children's inner world. As a psychologist, I see that my main task is to develop the natural potential of each child under my supervision. Before I start introducing my method, firstly, I need to get to know the person I will work with. Setting up a chessboard is where I start out to be on equal terms with the child. The chessboard is the bridge between me on one side and the child on the other side. The greatest challenge is to observe and learn about the children's inner world, imagination, fears, and also undiscovered potential. Only such intimacy gives me the right to try to make new steps in educating and teaching new behaviors. That is the essence of my chess therapy. During my meetings, when we start, I sit down at the chessboard. I'm mostly curious. When I know the child, the rules, which I previously explained, we start to play. However, I do not impose my style. When a child chooses white pawns to play, my task is easier because the child naturally takes the initiative. When the other person wants to play with black, I start with e3 or d3 and wait and observe what is the child's next move. I always try to play on my half of the board as passively as possible. I open my position just enough to be able to create various possibilities on the board. For example, to be able to give check at some point. I have noticed that an attack of the king pawn is often considered by children as an attack on themselves. It causes them stress and the urgent need to get out of this uncomfortable situation.
W tej sytuacji najlepsze jest zbicie.
In this option, the best is capturing.
W tej sytuacji najlepsze jest zasłonięcie.
In this situation, the best option is interposition.
Mat. tej pozycji najlepsze było ucieczka.
In this situation, the best option was escape. The child's choice gives me the chance to start a conversation about the reason for his or her choice. This choice is never based on chess know-how, because I have never done chess therapy with an educated chess player. In my experience, this reflects the preferred strategy of dealing with stress in real life. For example, a child who chooses escape rather than interposition explained to me, "I always run away. Nobody will catch me. It always works." This boy has no support in real life, acts alone, and is unable to ask for help. Putting the pieces back to the box, he mistakenly put the queen in the hollow design for the king. In effect, he couldn't find a place where to fit the king. Not able to find a solution, he did not ask me for help, but became irritated. I asked if this was a situation that he cannot deal with, and he admitted so. I asked if he knew a person who might help him, and he replied that he did not know. I gave him a hint that since the chess set is mine, then maybe I'm the person who might be able to fit the pieces. He admitted that it made sense, but still didn't know what to do. I gave him another hint that he should ask me, which he finally did, and I explained how to fit the pieces inside the box. This simple example presents that I try to use chess in the broadest possible context to teach children that tools are useful for them. Very often I work on the defensive strategies against check, and I try to relate them to real children's behavior. Children usually find it hard to interpose, which I interpret that they are not aware of asking for help. I have been using chess therapy for 9 years. Among many children I work with, there is Charles with Asperger's syndrome. At the beginning, our cooperation was very tedious, focusing on controlling emotions and dealing with the loss of the pawns, pieces, and losing games. 9 years ago, it was a success when he kept from disrupting the pieces and throwing away the chessboard. At present, Charles is extremely well-behaved teenager in high school who lately has been chosen for the class president and supports one of his classmates who is struggling with autism. Moreover, none of Charles' colleagues have noticed he might suffer any emotional or behavioral problems. I have never forced him to play chess correctly. I try to play right and defensively, sometimes raising his stress level and helping him to deal with it. Charles played schematically for a long time. He looked for a way to give mate with just his queen and rook. He ignored moves with other pieces. Currently, my meetings with him are a real pleasure. He plays freely, transferring action from one side to the board to the other side. He tries to use his light pieces to give check or mate. I resigned from teaching him strategy because I don't want to impose anything on him. I'm fascinated by his style and imagination during our plays. This method and knowledge have impact on his everyday routine. Currently, during our chess meetings, we talk about the challenges he is facing every week and debate how to solve them. I often hear, "I must play the tactics of the king," to jump over it and move on. From his parent, I know that he often refers to chess in different situations and asks himself how to play it. This gives me an enormous satisfaction. I also work with a boy having many fears, even phobias. In this case, I have also implied chess therapy. First of all, I have noticed that his declared stress level had significant influence on his playing strength. He also had a limited set of behaviors to deal with, threats, mostly defensive, and he liked to play with his rook pawns in the opening. I designed a special training plan for him. I kept attacking and withdrawing repeatedly in the course of one game. This situation allowed me to have many occasions to talk about his stress and how to deal with it. I also found that the very act of playing reduced his anxiety level. which is in accordance with the psychological theory claiming that a highly engaging intellectual activity is a way to deal with attacks of fear. The boy worked out his own effective ways to deal with stress on the chessboard, and in the course of the time, he gradually started playing them in real life. Nowadays, his panic attacks have disappeared. At school, I have run a pilot program to support children's development by playing chess. It is based on 10 key points. First, know your opportunities, potential of chessboard and figures. 2. Start action, expanding figures. 3. Take care of yourself, castling. 4. Know your strengths and weaknesses, analyzing the position of the figures in checkers and position of the king. 5. Learn the opportunities and dangers of the environment, analyzing position of the figures, checkers and king of your partner. Set up a primary goal and objectives to support it, finding partner weakness and ways to attack. 7. Organize your resources to meet your goal. How to use figures to play the game. 8. Deal with making mistakes. How to cope with the loss of checker or figure. 9. Hold the storm safely. How to keep the attack on the chessboard. 10. Have fun with action. How to get satisfaction from the game regardless of the result. At some point, I have started wondering how to share my knowledge. The problem is that, in contrast to chess trainers, I don't care about the result of chess game. Even in the course of my regular chess training sessions, I stop children from completing their games when I see that they are going nowhere. I focus on meaningful opening of the game rather than letting them play until checkmate. Of course, after such first lesson, I transfer them to the care of an excellent chess trainer who teaches them tactics and strategy. My concern is to teach children to think and make conscious choices. In both chess therapy and normal chess training, I have noticed that the biggest problem for children is to make a plan. They make moves all over the board without any purpose, just like running around in the school corridor during school breaks, sometimes bumping into someone, sometimes falling over, and sometimes finding anything. They need a lot of time before they learn to act according to a plan. This inspired me to eliminate the aspect of competition. I have considered a new way to play. After the opening, black stops moving or plays passively, like moving the rook from A8 to B8 and then back to A8. I call it the passive chess game.
To jest skrócona wersja pasywnej gry.
This is the short version of passive chess game. It is based on guidelines of psychotherapy, where the therapist gives to the patient tools and teaches how to correctly use them. At the chessboard, I present the possibility of moving pawns. Later on, I observe how the patient is using the knowledge. I do ignore the bad moves, however, I always compliment on the good ones. I also encourage them to look for good solutions. In this case, I stimulate patients' self-agency and remind them there is a possibility to achieve goals by themselves. I often play this way with Charles. White was supposed to make a plan how to give checkmate and carried it out. It turns out to be a big challenge for children, which forces them to totally show themselves on the chessboard. As a psychologist, this gives me a chance to get to know their inner world. Additionally, this exercise teaches them to plan and go after their own goals, which I value the most. Curiously, this exercise also raises the level of playing normal chess game. For a long time, I wondered how I could popularize it. The biggest challenge was to make a clone of myself. Chess players are rarely psychologists or therapists, usually focused on correct playing, while psychologists are rarely interested in chess. For me, playing chess is a way to establish rapport with a child and help him or her in everyday challenges. My biggest success is the smile on every child's face. When he can play chess tricks in everyday life, gain new friends, cope with a stressful situation in an optimal way to come to terms with the fact that the loss is not always a failure and that an advantage can disappear as a result of loss of concentration. With the help of chess therapy, I work with children and teenagers with various emotional disturbances, including ADHD, Asperger's, and autism. I know that chess is not the recipe for everyone, but it can give many people the chance for a positive change in a pleasant and interesting way.
Dziękuję wszystkim. Jeśli ktoś ma jakieś pytania, to zapraszam.
Thank you very much. Now is the time for questions. If you have any, please let me know.